how can somebody just get out the shadows and go for what they want? Is there routines? Do you believe in things like meditation, mantras, or is it just go for it and make mistakes? Or
well, I mean, the answer is yes to a lot of that. I mean, I've been a meditator for well over almost 15 years now. I meditate every day, mostly every day. But that's primarily just to kind of keep my brain in shape. The meditation's got a lot of benefits, but for me, that I really recognize is that there's this wrestling match between my more rational, reasonable side of my brain and then this kind of animal fear-based side of my brain. And so I've just my job is to listen. My job is to really pay attention, and meditation just keeps me sharp on that end. And then in terms of going for it, I think a lot of us have this belief that we're always on the edge of some cliff and that we've got to make some big leap. And it can certainly feel that way sometimes. But what I've found is more true is life is, or whatever project we're doing is just it's a long walk. It's one step after the other. It's not just one big step. It might feel like that first step is a big step, but a lot of times it's just, all right, get up and let's do some more walking today. And then next week we're going to keep walking some more. And so what I found is that just start taking that's what's the smallest step you can start to take. And a lot of people are like, no, well, shouldn't it be more dramatic? Shouldn't it be bigger? And it's like, no, it's usually pretty mundane. It's a phone call. It's writing this letter. It's asking for this. It's taking this course. And people are like, oh, well, I thought it was going to be some big, huge thing like you'd write a movie about. And it just doesn't work that way. So real change, real transformation is far more about that one foot in front of the other on a consistent basis over a long period of time than some kind of eureka moment where everything changes. It might seem like that there might be moments like that along the way, but they're usually on the end of a lot of that kind of walking, a lot of that step-by-step stuff. And then in terms of like, what will people think about me? And that's usually, we've talked about that today, is like, oh my gosh, what if I decided to do this, what will people think about me? I'd like to remind them about pop stars. Go look at people in our pop culture and then look at how hard they work to get attention. Look at the money that is spent. Look at the stupid outfits they wear. Look at the dumb stories that people write about them just to stay in the limelight. It's like most of the time, the thing you think you're going to do that's going to be this huge, create this huge wave in the world, most people don't give a shit about. They don't care. And so I found that whenever, these kind of things like, okay, I'm going to go for this, and it's going to be this huge thing, they kind of come back to me. It's like, the other people didn't really care. Like that happens a lot. Like not that big a deal. And so I like to just say, look, you're going to have to work really hard to get people to care about this stuff. So that's probably more true than the other thing. Well, think about like the guy I was telling you about that I interviewed, right, where he came out of the closet to his sons, and his sons were like, okay, all right. I mean, he thought it was going to be this huge uproar, and it wasn't as big a deal as what he thought. The impact wasn't as big as what he thought it was going to be. So what if that was true for you, the listener, the guy that's out there listening right now, the thing that you're holding back from, you think is going to be some huge deal? What if it's just not going to be that big a deal? What if nobody really cares? How many years are you going to waste avoiding that because you thought it was going to be some big deal? And what if it wasn't? Would you start today?
They forget that, don't they? You immediately look at the end goal, which may seem impossible to reach, but nobody ever became a famous, say, golfer by going straight in and playing in the Nationals. They have to go practice and gradually go, fail, come back. Yeah. I think we forget that. We look at the end goal rather than the journey, and it's like you're saying, it's that first step. Yeah, it may be hard, but if you keep walking, you're going to get to where you want to be. So how does somebody get over that? Is there something that you could recommend to somebody just now that they're wanting to do it? Do they just go for it, or?
Yeah, take action. I'm a huge proponent of go get data. Go get experience. I was talking to a client the other day. He's at this place where he just basically wrapped up his first career, and he has a bunch of money in the bank, and people are looking at him like, man, what a great thing. He's like, yeah, I always fantasized about being in this place, right? You think this is where you'd want to be. He's terrified. He doesn't know what to do with his life now. He's got all these options, and he doesn't know where to go. And it's actually a very unpleasant experience for him. Of course, he went and had some fun for a while, but now he's just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? He's like, I hope nobody asks me what I'm up to these days because I don't want to answer. I don't know. So he's in this place where he's speculating about what he should do. He's speculating about what the experience might be like. And I don't trust speculation. I'm like, go try. Go spend 6 months in this thing. Go actually learn this thing for a year. Go through the dip of learning, because a lot of times learning something can suck. It won't be enjoyable, but once you learn how to do it, it can be really enjoyable. Think about learning to swim. Learning to swim is not very fun, but swimming is. Learning how to ride a bike, you're falling down, not really fun. Riding a bike can be fun. So you can't figure this stuff out by sitting on the sidelines and speculating about what you may like. It's about rolling up your sleeves, being willing to put in the time and energy and go try some things and actually see how you feel. Most of the time we want to be able to say on an egoic level, like, oh, look at me, I'm this guy, I have this, I like this image, so I'll go do that. But a lot of times that image doesn't align with what our experience. The experience may be shit. It may not be fun at all. We may not like the pressure, or it doesn't make us happy. We hate the work, but we signed up for this image. So I like to separate those two things. There's the image, and then there's also the experience. Go find where you're actually lit up. And you can only do that by doing it, by taking action and getting in there. So I'm a huge proponent. Like, what can we experiment with? Let's go try.